Hello everyone. Can you guys let me know if I'm audible or not? Let's just check the Facebook comments or YouTube comments. You let me know in the comment if I'm audible or not. If you guys can see me, just check my mic. Write on the comments if you can hear me or not on the Facebook or YouTube. If you're watching this, let me just speak by myself first. Yeah, I'm audible then. So, hello everyone, it's me, your host Janel Abidin Mia, AWS Cloud Club Captain at BRAC University. And it's been such a quite a while since I first took my session, which was on AWS Party Rock. So, where we have built like three AWS Party Rock applications. And today we also have an exciting guest joining with us today. Now, I'm really glad that he accepted our invitation. So, really, so before I introduce him to the stage, I would like all of you to stay till the end of the session and ask question like at the end of the session. Even if you have zero knowledge, it's a really great session for all of you. So before and also there's another news that I would like to share with you all is we are the only AWS Cloud Club in Bangladesh to have reached like 1,000 members, which is huge. Like it's because of all of your support that we have reached this milestone. Hopefully, in the future, we will reach some more milestone. So now, without further ado, let's welcome Muhammed Salih, the Senior Developer Advocate at Amazon Web Services, who will be showing you how to build cloud connected React Native applications. So make sure to stay till the end and ask questions like whatever question you have regarding career guidance or anything. So let me just add Saleh to the stage. Hey
Hello,
Saleh. So
how are you doing?
welcome you to the Bangladesh.
Thank you, thank you. I hope one day in person. I hope
Yeah,
one day in
I
person
hope
I can.
one day we will be able to invite you in person. So yeah,
Yeah, I'm
so,
really excited. I'm really excited. I
yeah,
hope it will be a great session for everyone. Today we will talk about something probably new to everyone, but I'm really curious also about everyone's question about their perception of AWS, their understanding of how we work, and so on, so forth. So, uh, whatever question you have, drop it to the chat. I will sometimes take a look into it, and at the end we will have some Q&A time as well. I will go as slow as possible for everyone to understand, and the source code of whatever I'm going to be showing, I will share it after when you reach out to me in person because it is not published yet.
yeah, we're really excited to see what you have in store for us. So I will go backstage. Best of luck to you.
All right, yeah, perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So, hello everyone. Once again, I'm Sari. I work as a senior developer advocate at AWS. And for the people who don't know what a senior developer advocate is, my main role is to teach people about AWS technologies and how they can use it. And my specialty comes from my background as a mobile application developer. Prior to AWS, I have been building apps for a long, long time. And I built native Android apps, Flutter apps, iOS apps, React Native apps. And in here, my role is to actually teach also to web developers about how they can use AWS easily. Today, we will talk about a service called AWS Amplify. In the chat, can you write, have you heard of Amplify before? I will look at the chat now. I see Yeah, there will be a recording. That's perfect. Have you heard of AWS Amplify before? Have you seen this link before? Don't be shy. Drop it to the chat. Drop it to the chat. I'm here for you. Okay, I will say that I will act like you didn't hear it. So AWS Amplify is actually a AWS service that is helping you to use AWS services for building cloud-powered applications. Okay, one person said they have never heard it before. So that was a great explanation for you, I hope. So what we try to do is we try to abstract the complexity of AWS services and give you a simpler way of building your applications. And you will be using a programming language to define your infrastructure, meaning that your backend environment, and you will communicate through everything that you will be planning to do. So for the AWS Amplify, for starting off, we support almost all the platforms. So you can use React, Next.js, Angular, Vue, JavaScript, React Native, Flutter, Android, and Swift. So my next question for the audience, even the one person, don't worry, I'm reading everything. Tell me, have you built any front-end applications before, web or mobile? And if you did, what did you use before? Did you use Flutter? Did you use React Native? Did you use native Android and iOS? Or you just build web applications? What did you do before? Let me check. I think there's a delay as well, so I will wait a little bit for hearing your text. All right, so today we will build a mobile application because how can I combine data analytics with AWS? I will answer this later on. This is something for at the end, I will answer this. So today we will be building a mobile application. The mobile application is called Smart Sous Chef, meaning that like helper chef. And the app will have an AI component. Right now, it is the mocked data. So everything that we have here, like AI capability, like hello, for example. If I write this, it will just pretend like it is an AI component and so on and so forth. This is the previous meals and basically everything that we have. As you see, we have capabilities like saving meals or creating a shopping list, literally everything that you've seen here so far, including the sign in, sign up flow. We will do it right now. So first thing is, this is our end goal. So let's clean up everything and let's change also our app to this. So I will just get rid of this, move this out, and delete this as well. All right, so first let's start with our application. Our application is a mobile application written with React Native, and it is going to be using authentication, data, AI, and the storage capabilities. For this, we have used something called Expo. Expo is a framework for building mobile applications on React Native, so making your life a bit easier. For running an application on Expo, you will say npx expo run iOS, and this will bring the app as mocked data. So for creating an Amplify project, to create a cloud-powered application, first thing that you have to do is to add this to your project. To add this to your project, first you will be writing, let me open this up. First, you will create it by npm create amplify at latest. This will create an Amplify project on your front-end application, because right now it uses like dummy data. I just write it and just gives me random answers, because the random answers is something that I provided. And it has the capabilities as this. You can play around with it. Every information in the mock data is provided as here. And of course, the user's mock user as well. Once the project is created, it will have a new folder here called Amplify. The Amplify folder here has an auth and data subfolder. For creating resources about your authentication and data, you will be changing the code in this resource.ts file by using the language TypeScript. For the folks who has never heard of TypeScript, TypeScript is a strongly typed JavaScript. You can think it that way. And the advantage of TypeScript is every information that we generate and every information that we create for you is going to be type safe. So your level of making a mistake is quite low. So for auth, we have defined auth, and we say we will do an email login, which is fine. And for data, we have the to-do app and everything here. And that's it. Like, it has the model, and in the model we have a string that holds the content, but we will create a more complex data soon. And for combining everything that we would like to deploy, we will define the result of this define data or define auth function in this define backend function here. And the Amplify will take these results and deploy it to AWS. For example, we don't want to deploy the data right now. We just want to deploy auth. And what I will do now is I will say npm npx ampx sandbox. This is one of the two ways that you can deploy some resources for Amplify. Sandbox is per developer environments that you use for deploying your resources. And these resources are created as a real cloud element, and you can throw them to the garbage with an easy command. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please drop it to the chat. I will try to go as slow as possible. We have a lot to cover, but at the same time, we have limited time, so I want to be sure we cover every important part for you. So once we do this, once we do the initial deployment, the next thing that we are going to do is to actually change some operations like authentication here. In here, we have a login with email capability. We have a minimum password length of 8, the user confirmation, and everything is here as well, which is great. But we want to change or do some modifications. What kind of modifications we can do is, for example, hello, captains. So for example, what you can do, you can change the verification email subject and body by giving any custom text to it. And for your user to be confirmed, you are doing this by code. You can change it to link as well. But in here, we decide the code, so you can carry on with code. Also, you can define what kind of information you really want to have about the user. Do you want to have the full name, email? You might be wondering what else I can get. You can get the middle name, nickname, phone number, profile picture, and many more as well. All of these attributes, they are saved in Amazon's other services. One of them is called, for example, Amazon Cognito, for defining and using the authentication flow. In the meantime, it is doing our initial deployment here. Next thing that we will be doing is actually to add the UI components. To add the UI components, next thing that we will do is to go to our root folder, which is our, in this case, for this app, it is the layout.tsx file. And what we will do is we will get to this to do, and we will add the following. The following here is bringing the Amplify libraries, getting the configuration file, which holds the information about the resources that has been deployed, and we configure our Amplify libraries to say that use these information, use these configurations for your app, for your library capabilities. The second thing that we will do is the authentication flow, the authentication UI part. For this one, we will write this 5 simple line of code. But what does this 5 single line of code do? So for this one, we will go to actually something new. It is called Amplify UI libraries. Amplify UI libraries is the libraries that we provide to the customers to use AWS resources that we created for them easily. For example, when we define the authentication flow, most of the time we have to use or write the UI components, right? Like you have to create a UI, you have to create a backend, and you have to create all like sign up page, sign in page, forgot password page, and many, many more. And in case you forget one page, then the flow is broken and you need to do another iteration and so on. What we do here is we actually provide this information. We provide this capability for example, authenticator by abstracting everything behind the scenes. And in case you want to take control, you still can do that. So in here, what we do is we call something called authenticator provider. This provider here passes the information about authentication to the child views. This authenticator here shows the UI elements and UI capabilities. And lastly, the one that we have very inside is the actual UI that we want to show on the screen. So, any questions so far? I'm looking at the chat. You can write it to the chat. I will carry on, but I will answer your questions about this so far. If you have any other questions, you can also drop it to the chat. I will answer them in the last 10 minutes of the session. All right. So right now, every information that I have and every data that we use is under here. For user-related operations, we had a mock user data, right? So if you open up the page, you could see that there was the mock user with the name and the email and so on and so forth. I will delete this one because I don't want to use mock data anymore. What I will do next is I will create a new repository called user repository.ts, which is at my TypeScript file. And I want to add the information about the users here. Like what we can have. First of all, we will have a user profile cache. We don't want to continuously get the user profile from the API, no, because it's not going to change until we actually change it. So in here, what we have is first we have a cache value. And when we ask to get the user profile, first we fetch the attributes, meaning that we get the full name like I showed you earlier on. We get every detailed attribute there. And we get the current user, meaning that we get the current user information like ID and so on. You might be asking why we don't get everything in one call. The reason is that the data operations are always expensive. Never get everything in one call. That's why we don't have something called get all in API calls. You actually have split data, so you get only the information that you need. So in here, we get the user information and we created a user profile. And once it is called, we have that information here. This is the only thing that we will care right now. The rest is still kind of mock. The next thing that we will do is actually to add the sign out functionality, and then we will create our user together. So what we will do is we will first go to the service locator and say that sort of mock user, we will have an actual user repository, user repository here. All this information I already created for you. The service locator is in here. I use a singleton logic to create the repository, so it is the source of truth for all around the app. Instead of using a dependency injection, I just want to have a service locator to keep the information. And in here, I go back. I have the user repository here too. And once I have all of these, next thing that I will do is to actually import the authenticator, so the sign out button. For using sign out capabilities, you will be using a user authenticator React hook. This hook will, thanks to the provider, this hook will help us to get the sign out capability work for us. So we do this one here, add the sign out capability, and for the sign out here, we will pass this, and that's it. So I will restart my application. Everything is here. I go back, so I will create a user. Again, in the meantime, if you have any questions, drop it to the chat. I'm more than happy to answer. So I will create a new user now. I will say, I will just give my email address here. Give it a simple password. And the name, which is, and then it will ask me to confirm the user. I will just get my email here. Let me show you this. So you can see that like the title was the thing that we have defined, and the course first part is something that we defined as well. So I go back to my app, I open up, I paste and confirm, and I'm in the app. And I have the user information here. I don't have the user profile picture capabilities yet. I will just randomly select this. It will keep it for the session, but we don't have the upload mechanism yet. And if I log in with the user, it will work fine as well. One thing to mention is for the required elements, it is still using the files, basically everything that we want to have. So the authentication is done. Next thing that I want to do is the storage, because I want to actually add the capability to upload an image. I don't see any questions. Do we have any questions that I don't see in the comments in StreamYard? If we do, please let me know. All right, the next thing that we will do is to actually add the storage capabilities. Why the storage capabilities are important or valuable is if you go to Amplify, you can see that we have auth and data, but we don't have storage. How do we add the storage? For adding the storage, you click on write, say new folder, and call that storage. And in this one, you add a new file called resource.ts. And the resource.ts file now will have defined storage instead of defined auth or data. And in this one, you will define the subfolder that you would like to have for profile pictures or whatever you want to keep. and you can define the access rules, meaning that you can say, okay, so for this subfolder, the authenticated can read, write, and delete, but for the others, for example, uh, guests can read as well, something like this, Whatever you want to define, you can define it in the way that it would work out for you. And if you want to use this for your backend applications, you will add this one here and import it, save it. And once you save that, the deployment will start, like you can see over here. The deployment constantly happens in the moment that you save the file and if the file is attached to the defined backend. So for this to work with the upload and getting the URL capabilities, first let's go to upload capabilities. For having the upload capabilities, we already have the image picker logic and we have the URI of the image. With the URI of the image, you can actually get the blob out of it. And with the blob, you can upload the data and get an instant feedback on the progress thanks to the Amplify's upload data capabilities. So with this one, what we will see is we will see how many percent of data has been uploaded. For using, let me close to the right. For using or getting the data though, you will use the get URL function from Amplify, from the path that you upload it to. And more importantly, you can also have an option to check if it exists. If not, it will throw an error. So you don't need to think, oh, did I really upload or not, and so on and so forth. It should work out of the box. And once it is done, let's restart the application. Go back here. Now we will select the picture. I will select this Paya picture that I picked, that I took. You can see that the upload progress is happening for this image. Once it is uploaded, the image is here. I am restarting the app from scratch. I go back here and you can see that the image has been uploaded. Okay, there's a great question. Why is TypeScript recommended for full stack deployment in AWS Amplify Gen 2? First of all, thank you very much for asking this question. I really appreciate it because I love questions. Every person who attends this is really valuable for me because I do this for you to learn. And if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer. So to answer our friend here, here's what I would say. The TypeScript has been selected because of multiple reasons. One of them is TypeScript is one of the TypeScript is a language that we officially support for building cloud infrastructure in AWS, alongside with Java, Python, and like many more. The second thing is the Amplify Gen 2 is built on top of something called CDK, Cloud Development Kit. And this Cloud Development Kit has multiple languages, like I said, like Golang, TypeScript, Java, and so on. And TypeScript being web-friendly language, which is our target audience, is helping us to also keep the type safety. And more importantly, we can also reflect the types into other languages like Kotlin, Swift, and Dart as well. It was also because of the performance reasons on the web as well. So overall, altogether, we wanted to talk to our customers and we ended up saying that, hey, let's pick a language that many of the customers that can learn once and deploy everywhere. Thank you for the question, Hasanul Bamahimel. Thank you. All right. So now we have the storage capabilities. Oh, I forgot to add this one more time. There we go. This will be here. And if you have more questions, drop it to the chat. I'm more than happy to answer. So next thing that we will add is the famous topic, the AI. So Amplify has released something called Amplify AI Kit recently. The Amplify AI Kit behind the scenes uses Amazon Bedrock to collect all the capabilities of AWS and the foundation models that Amazon Bedrock brings and gives you an easy way to set up your AI applications. But how do we do this? First of all, we go back to the data now because data has been alone for a while. In data, we had this like to do and so on. Let's delete everything and paste this one. Here's what we have here. In here, we have a data schema. The data schema can be models to keep our data, or it can be the AI capability for us. The AI capability can be two things. One is generation, which is a one-off operation. So you do it once and you forget about it. Or the second option is the conversation. Conversation keeps the history of whatever you have talked about in DynamoDB tables, so you can bring it from the database that we have. Each schema element, either it's model or if it's a AI component, it has a way to have an authorization, meaning that you can authorize the users to either read, delete, and manage their data on themselves, or give capabilities like guests can read, or just a group of people can read as well. You can define the authorization mode according to the user pool, meaning that like the users are controlled by Amazon, or you can define it with like OIDC providers, like extra identity providers outside of AWS as well, like Auth0 and so on. For defining AI, in here what we said was like we will have a conversation and we define the model. You can define any model that you want. We have like Amazon Nova, we have like Cloud 3, so on and so forth, like many more of them. You can use, for example, I decided to use a Cloud 3 Haiku because I really like it. It's also cheap and really helpful. In here, we say you are a helpful assistant that provides instructions and ingredients with the meal that is shared with you as an image or text. Use metric system when you explain things. This is literally what I said, nothing more, nothing less. And once I save it, I go back to my backend and say data. The moment that I save this file, you can see that the deployment has been started. To add the AI capabilities, we have to talk about one thing. Each file or each schema element that has been generated, it can be used by a client element that we have to do operations on data. Meaning that if I go to my, where was it? There we go. So for example, if I go here, what I did here is like, first I get the schema. The schema is bringing information that I define here back to me. And the client is using this information and capabilities through type safety. In addition, we also have hooks, meaning that we have callback mechanisms for our AI or generation capabilities that we can hook up our projects to. So I remove all the mock operations that I have. the next thing that I do is to add so I listen to the messages that I have here, so I can remove these random messages, and also I will remove this generate mock data as well, because I don't need to generate mock data anymore. And lastly, the handle send message has this like timeout and everything that is defining a custom way of doing things. What we will do is we will use this handle send message from our AI conversation hook that we provide as AWS Amplify. And that's it. The rest is just reading the message through the content, because behind the scenes it uses the streaming, meaning that it sends one word or even character at a time. It thinks in each change, and with each change we will see a new capability on the screen. So once the deployment is done, now we will have an AI assistant that could help us with food, uh, like food generation. Give me your favorite food in the comments, and I will write that food into AI, so you will know that it's not fake. I will wait for the comment, and I will get some water. Sorry. We still have time, so just drop your favorite meal. Pizza. Okay. If you have something really unique as well, you can also do that, like something from Bangladesh too. But I will do pizza because it came first, so we will have that too. So once the AI is done, the next thing that we will do is the data. Okay, the AI is done. We have the app. Let me restart to be sure. And I'm not even going to write anything else. I will just write pizza. And now the AI starts to answer me. It says, okay, here's the ingredients and so on. First, it even starts from the base, like from the bread. It says, like we will have flour, salt, yeast to have everything, and the instructions. So I will do the biryani next. So you can see that it tells me everything related to pizza right now. I will just stop this one by restarting. So the next thing that I will do is, you know what? I will just like, I will do the biryani, but what I will do is, what is a famous dish in Bangladesh? Question mark. Let's ask the assistant. Is biryani? Yeah. It says, see, like I didn't even say anything else. Bangladeshi biryani is a delicious rice-based dish that combines fragrant basmati rice, marinated meat, and everything. It gives me the resources and so on, and everything that we have defined here, then we use to build this. So with we have 5 lines of code here. We have 3 lines of code here, in total of 8. We have, let's say, 6 here, 14. If I go here and check out 6 lines of socket, like 20 lines of code, I'm able to create a nice AI assistant that could help me out with the food. So next thing that we will do is to actually add a new capability for the data. And after the data, hopefully you'll have some time to go back to some questions. Please drop your questions into chat. I'm really happy to answer them. Okay, the next thing that we will do is to actually add some new capabilities to our data. What do I mean by this? So Instead of the conversation now, we have models. The models are our data haul data, like data transfer objects or data objects that we have. For defining data objects, you can have IDs that is generated automatically by Amplify. You can define any attributes of the model like their name and their type, each primitive type, or you can define custom types by using primitive types as supported. You can define if they are required or if they are arrays. And you can also define the relationships among them. So you can define if, for example, a meal part of favorite meals, meaning that favorite meals can have multiple meals in it as a separate model itself. So you can define data operations, custom types, primitive types. Alongside this, you can also define a nice AI capability. So for this one, for using the data, next thing that we will do is to actually go back to our data flow here that we have. And we will say, as you see, we have a lot of things like we have the meal, custom type here, and so on and so forth. The first thing that we will do is to actually use the meal type from the resources that has been created. So you will get the schema, like I said, get the meals type and assign it here. So everything that uses this is using meal type. The next thing that we will do is right now we have the mock meal repository. Let's delete that one. We will move this to trash. We will create a new folder called meal repository. Yes. And in here, first we will define a client, like I said, because client is really important. This is our gateway to our application. And for this one, we will do all CRUD operations. Like if you want to create, what you will do is you will use a client. Inside the client, you will have models. And from the models, you will get the meal automatically. And for the meal, you will create everything by using the create function. And everything that you will be doing is actually type safe. I will answer the React Native question at the end as well. In 5 minutes, I'll go back to your other question. So let's keep that question. I will answer that. Also, if you want to update, you will still use the client. And instead of create, you will use the update function. And for updating something, you will use ID of the object that you will be normally using. For removing or deleting, you will be also using the ID of the required or ID of the element that you would be doing the deletion operation. And more importantly, for reading files, you can either list all the elements or you can get one by ID, or you can define predicates, meaning that you can define filters that is used on the cloud side to filter your listing operations. All right, so we have the new create, read, update, and delete operations. Next thing is I go back here. You will be using meal repository, and meal repository here. Okay, once it is done, the next thing, let me run this. Next thing that we will do is, as you see, we're not going to change anything in the front-end side because everything that we did is using a nice clean architecture. This clean architecture is helping us out to separate the code from front-end and back-end. So whatever data resource that I have, I will just update it. And once it is updated, the front-end doesn't care about any changes. The next thing is, as you see, like we had the elements for backend, but we also had the elements for the shopping list as well. So I will delete the shopping list here and create a new file called shopping list repository.ts. All right. So I'm not this one. This is not that. For shopping list, we still have the client here, and you can define the shopping list's current meal ID and get the item with the current ID for getting information about it. And once you get the information, you can define the list as which items are selected or which items are saved. So this way you would know everything that has been used. Of course, right now it is not working because we don't have the mock shopping repository anymore. So we will update this, save it, restart it, not working. We'll restart our application again, and then it will work out fine. Once we do this, what is the problem? Okay, I think we forgot to do one last change here, which is this and this. So third time is the charm, right? I'm just waiting. Okay, the app is opening slowly. And yeah, now we have everything here. You can see that none of the data from the mock is here. So for example, I will just add a new meal. I will call this, for example, sandwich. The sandwich ingredient is bread, tomato, lettuce, and I'll say salami. I save this meal. I can see it. I can add to the shopping list. It is part of my shopping list. I can restart. And this is here. It is not part of it because the shopping list is just for the session, but the favorite part is broken. So if I restart, the favorite icon is still here. And you can see that the previous items have been added here as well. All right, we can go back slowly to the questions. To be honest, this is more or less it. In this one, I've shown you how you can build your applications by using AWS Amplify and just a second, please. Yeah, AWS Amplify and React Native. And there were some questions, so I will answer those questions as well. So first question was
From
about,
Himel,
I think
how
I
does
want to
a
answer
React
first,
Native?
like,
Yeah.
how can I combine data analytics question? Because it was first.
Oh, yeah. Let's go to the first question.
Yeah.
Yep. Here,
How can I
this.
combine data analytics with AWS? So data analytics is a different part of the field that we are in. So if you want to do the analytics per your application, that's one topic. For the analytics, what you would do is you will use different resources. Like for a simple analytics, you would use the analytics tools like Pinpoint and so on to keep the campaigns or keep the information tracked. So you will define each information, what your users are doing, keep them in track, and do some calculations about what they are doing and how successful it is. So for data analytics, it's a whole field. Like it's just asking, how can I build an app in React Native? It's a 10-hour stream by itself. We can go to the next one, the React Native one.
Yeah. There is another question by Himel. How can I become a senior developer advocate as a CS student?
Can you go to the
And
previous one? How does React Native handle animations?
or the React Native one, yeah,
Yeah, for
it's
like,
also is
yeah, for the animations in React Native, there are many libraries. There are libraries from React Native itself. There's, for example, animated, which is the most basic one, but there's also many capabilities of React Native that you can use with other products such as, I don't know, Drive or uh, Adobe's After Effects and so on and so forth. So it's totally up to you what you want to do. Animations are like a really, really big topic.
Then next one is by email. How can I become a soft senior developer advocate associate student? Can you provide guidelines?
Yeah, I mean, like for me, I think first thing that I would say is to become a senior at anything, you have to work hard. You have to, like, senior means experience, okay? Meaning that you have to have a lot of both trouble and also the success in it. But mainly, you would have to learn how you can fix problems, or when the time is hard, how you can be better at it. So, to become a senior developer, senior developer advocate, first thing that you have to do is you have to build a lot of things. You have to break a lot of things. This is the first thing. The second thing is software engineering is not just about writing code. If someone comes to you and says, "Oh, you have to do this, you have to do it," no, there is a great engineering aspect, but engineering is all about calculations and preparations and being ready on the events and capabilities that you would like to do. Meaning that you have to know how you can take a project from point A to point B. You can start. Uh,
Another question by
uh,
email.
yeah, but I didn't finish yet. Sorry, I didn't
Oh,
finish the previous one. Yeah. So like you have to build your things, you have to build your apps, you have to create a roadmap. Also, being senior means helping the others around you and mentoring them to become better as well. So you have to share your experience, find ways to enhance your impact on the others. So my suggestion from starting from is like from the student perspective, of course, going step by step. No need to run before you can crawl. First step crawling, walking, then running. No need to put a lot of pressure on yourself and no need to hurry. This is a long journey. Like if you start working, if you get rich, that's perfect. If you don't get rich, you have to work for a couple of years, meaning that 10 to 20 years in this field. And if you want to be in this field, you have to be open to learn. Can go to the next one.
yeah. Mm, yeah. What are some common use cases of AWS Amplify in mobile app development?
That's a great question. For AWS Amplify, the most common use case is when you want to use cloud, when you want to use AWS, but you don't want to deal with the infrastructure controls and like all the extra steps that you do as a cloud developer. AWS Amplify is helpful for you. You will you will create your auth, data, AI, storage, and everything by simply writing a few lines of code, and deployment and everything will be done by AWS for you. And when you want to go to the market fast and when you want to build something scalable, AWS Amplify is the perfect way to go. It will be helpful for you to build your app faster as well as moving forward. As you see, in 45 minutes, uh, we have built all these capabilities for the app that I had a UI about.
We have two more questions from email.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the best practices for writing scalable script applications?
For writing, like the TypeScript, of course, like do you want to write TypeScript backend or TypeScript frontend? It depends. But I think as a language, it is important. Like for the project, it changes according to what you're doing. But from the TypeScript perspective, I would say always use strong type and never use any keyword in your TypeScript applications. That's all I would say. Take advantage of the types, take advantage of what it can bring you to the table. people love JavaScript because it feels like they can say, they say that it feels more flexible, but I think if I'm being honest, types are your safety net, so always use it.
And another question from Himel also. How can developers contribute to AWS Amplify community open source projects?
That's a perfect thing. Like if you want to be part of the AWS Amplify community, one thing is you can join the Amplify Discord channel, answer some questions. You can write some blog posts about it, create open source projects, basically everything that you can do to share your knowledge with the others for any platform, because Amplify has the data aspect that I've shown you. But for example, for web, we also have Amplify hosting too, that you can deploy your web application. So yeah, everything that you can do for community is for us, meaning that you are part of the AWS Amplify community. And we listen. We are always on LinkedIn, Twitter, and so on, like wherever you are. When you share something about AWS Amplify, we have our eyes on it, and we always even share within our organizations to show some love to it.
It's great.
Yeah.
And another question from Mehrin Mullik Fiona. So, what are some career opportunities for developers skilled in AWS Amplify and cloud integration?
Yeah, like AWS overall is a big field. AWS and cloud operations, if you know them right now, it's a field that is not very like people are having a hard time to find great cloud engineers, because cloud is a field that is constantly growing, and especially with the AI and so on, the infrastructure that is providing the computing power to the AI is getting some love from the cloud engineers. So for AWS I, or for cloud, I would say it is important. It is a really valuable career opportunity. I started my journey as a mobile application developer, but if I had the chance, I would go back and be a cloud engineer for myself. So right now, I think at least it looks like the career opportunities for cloud is quite high.
And we have another question. So, how does Amplify Gen 2 integrate with backend services like AWS Lambda and DynamoDB?
Yeah, it's perfect. Behind the scenes, we actually use those those platforms, so those services. So AWS Amplify is not a separate service; it's just an abstraction over cloud services, meaning that for for the data that you've seen with meal and so on, we saved behind the scenes. It is using DynamoDB to save it, and we have our own functions behind the scenes running, or either when you want to create a function, or for example, when you communicate with the AI behind the scenes, we are still using AWS Lambda functions. So they are not very different. They're actually what we have in our services too.
Yeah, I guess that's the same question.
Yeah.
I guess we don't have any questions, I think. That's a really great session, Saleh. And also, everyone, do fill up the feedback form for our AWS Cloud Club events. It will help us improve our events in the future. And also join our meetup group to expand more members and also to organize more events like this. Another question from Himil. Do you want to answer it? Saleh?
Yeah, this was what we did in our event. So like
Yeah.
this is literally, this was the, so if you watch this thing, this is literally what we did.
Yes.
We started from mock data and had this. In
Yeah,
case
it
you
is the
want to
on
see the
section.
in case you want to see the source code, I shared the link of my LinkedIn in the private chat, so you can share it with everyone. And drop me a message saying that I want to see the source code, and I will send you the source code.
Yeah. Let me just share you everyone that's linked to Saleh's account from LinkedIn. You guys can add Saleh and ask questions after end of the session if you have any question. Also, the recording will be available on YouTube, Facebook also. So if you have any problem, you can go to LinkedIn and ask Saleh questions.
Yeah. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. Thank you very much for the also like attending for your questions, everyone. I know like with online you feel sometimes shy, but don't be shy. Like we are here to help you. We are here to uh like we spend this time to actually show you what you can do by using everything that we have so you can be great developers as well.
Yeah, that's, and thank you all for joining our session. We really love that Saleh took his time to took our session. And also, we have Ramadan incoming, so we were in hurry to take the session. So yeah, hopefully next session will be amazing as well. Hope to have you in our next session, Saleh.
Yeah, just let me know. I'm more than
Yeah,
happy to stop by. We can even do a training if someone wants to.
yes, we would love to have you again here with us. So
Perfect.
goodbye, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank
Let's
you. Thank
end
you,
the
everyone.
stream. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for joining the conversation.